It's Red Hat Day, and I'm just taking a break, coming up for air. Or maybe I'm procrastinating, I'm not sure. But I just felt like go do an Instagram Live, which I haven't done this in, I can't remember when. And there's just been one really strong message coming in, and I thought I would share it with you because until we start to recognize, okay, don't be mad at me for saying this. Until we start to recognize that we are the problem, that nobody's coming to save us, that nobody can fix what's going on up here with Controlzilla. And they can't change the outcomes of how you feel right here. It's just so easy to want to say, you're making me feel. You're making me feel small. You're making me feel bad. You're making me feel guilty. You're making me feel. And that's not true, because that's just giving your power away. That's like, you have control over how I'm gonna live my life. You're gonna make me feel a certain way. And even when we watch the news, we're like, oh, this side, not that. And now we're against, what we're against is making us feel a certain way. That's giving our power away. When we can assess what's going on in here, we can think about what we're thinking about. And what's interesting is the original thoughts that we're having that is making us feel a certain way. And then we have to think about, why do I feel that way? And it was a thought that was so sneaky that it snuck in there, because we're just having thoughts all day long, every minute. We're having like 4 or 5 thoughts coming and going in any given second of the day. And they're habits of thinking, the way we look at the world. And the way we look at the world was conditioned on us at a very young age. And it may not have been our parents' view. We may have thought our parents were wrong, but it's 100% our view. And sometimes we make feelings facts, which they're not. Sometimes we're trying to over logic things instead of feeling into them to see where that sense of right and wrong lie. It's just so interesting how complex we can be, but the ultimate outcome for every last one of us is peace and harmony in life, to find alignment with who we are and respond to life from our higher self. But if Controlzilla, the one that wants to control the outcomes, manipulate people in their emotions so they're not disappointed in you, they're not blaming you, like we're trying to stay out of harm's way, Controlzilla's hardwired to keep you safe, which would be to put yourself in emotional harm's way. When we have those habits of thought that occurred, those patterns were laid down real early in life. Those are our wounds, the negative ones, the ones that cause us to fear and not love, to worry and fret, and then have to control and manage. When that is happening, those thought habits become beliefs. And those beliefs, if the beliefs make us feel, even if the thoughts are the little things all piled into our beliefs, but thoughts and beliefs, when they hold a lack of love, give us negative emotional outcomes. They are missing light. They're missing truth. In the Hebrew language, truth means nothing missing. And when nothing is missing, it feels so good. It's like rock solid. It hits us here. It's like, yes, that's a win. That's 1,000 times a win. And so when you're feeling that level of upliftment, alignment, just life is good, I love being me, I'm living my best life, I'm at ease, I'm at peace, I'm in harmony, I'm going with the flow of life, that's the ultimate outcome. And it starts with the thought habits that we have. If the thought habits that we have a lack of love, then they are in the direction of fear. Less love, more fear. And then we get the negative emotion. And so when we're interacting with other people, we're like, you're making me uncomfortable. You're making me feel bad. You're making me feel small. You're making me feel confused. That's when you got to take a step back. You're like, wait a minute. Are they? Can they? Only if I allow it. Only if I allow it, because my positive thought habits, that's the hard part. We're reworking them. We're shifting our negative thought habits that have created beliefs, and we're turning them into positive thought habits, which have the fullness of love. And so the meaning we can assign to them is from love, not fear. And the emotional outcome feels good, and everybody rises to the top, meaning everyone in here. And when you change, then collectively, we're like, when you're not the one causing the fear, speaking the fear, embodying the fear, everybody else around you is like, wait a minute, that's different. Normally she's like the one controlling and managing. And then you're like, I'm at peace and ease. I feel good about myself. That's called emotional freedom. That's what I teach. But it's what I live like every day. I'm like, oh, why am I having a hard time? It was a thought first. An old habit of thought. It was an old habit of thought. And when I was being raised by emotionally unavailable and emotionally immature people. So I didn't really have a point of reference of what maturity looks like. But here's what the definition of maturity is: spiritual growth. So if we had those negative patterns laid down for us at a very young age, the only way that they become a new pattern of positive thoughts is through spiritual growth. As we recognize we need a stronger relationship with God, as soon as we recognize that we need more spirituality in our lives, as soon as we recognize that we need someone besides ourselves troubleshooting life, and we draw closer to the spirit of love, that's who we are, then we can transcend those wounds, those negative thought habits that continue to keep victimhood stuck in that negative emotional pattern going through here. We can turn victimhood into a gift, because it's no longer victimhood. Now it's like understanding, it's clarity, it's peace, it's harmony. And then we don't ruminate in those things anymore. And then we can get like right here, completely in tune with who we are and what we're here to do. But it's doing the work of, I see these negative cycles in my life. Like it happened, and then I thought I figured it out, but it happened again, and then I figured out it happened again. And I move my life around. I change relationships, I change jobs, I change locations, I change hoping to have a better outcome. And the very similar emotional struggle continues. When that's happening, we haven't changed the pattern. We haven't alchemized the wound into a gift. We haven't turned darkness into light. We haven't rid ourselves of fear and changed it to love. That's the goal. That's all we're here to do. Yeah, it's nice to make money. Yeah, it's nice to have love, relationships. Yeah, it's nice to connect. Yeah, it's good to have friends. Yeah, we need to collaborate. We're not here to be alone. We need connection. And that's all nice, but it's who are you? It's who you are being. Do you love it? Because if it's coming from ego, there's way too much trying, way too much effort, way too much control, manipulate, so that the world sees you in the way you want them to see you. I spent years doing that. I was taught that you should care more about what other people think of you than what you think of you. And when I started going, wait a minute, let me question that, because that's a lot of work. There was just way too much shame. It's like, oops, they saw through the crack. I let a little bit of my darkness show. And then I was like, gosh, but why am I holding up this wall so that everybody sees me in a certain light? Why don't I just be the light? Why don't I just stop trying, stop caring about what they think, and not make it about my ego, but make it about my true light? Because you have true light. You are nothing but light and love, period. It's in stone. You can't undo it. But in this world, we are so prone to think that love and light isn't bright enough. Think. That's the key word, because those are negative, old, unserving thought habits that accumulatively have created your belief system about what you have to do to keep up with the Joneses, or to keep the public face protected, or to not let yourself be seen fully. And then we, behind closed doors, we're like, oh, nobody really sees me. It's like, well, who's doing that? Yeah, we do. We do, to a large extent. We want to be seen as good parents. We want to be seen as, hard workers. We want to be seen as perfect and right. We want to be seen as the helper, the one that's always going to be there for you. That's a lot of work. It doesn't have to be. Emotional freedom is not a lot of work. Emotional freedom is just being aware. Am I doing this for them, or am I doing it for me? Am I thinking thoughts because I think that's what they need? That's what I was taught to do. But it still has that heaviness. It has that negative emotional outcome. Gosh, especially if we're like looking at politics, we're looking in the world, countries fighting, religion. Like, it can really get intense here. And that's who's suffering. You're suffering. And we're not here to do the suffering. We're not here to suffer. We're here to follow our heart, make our contribution, and do it from love. That's it. So if you're struggling, hit me up. There's no reason for you to spend your life struggling. And believe me, my whole life has been what not to do so I can stop suffering, so I can stop struggling, so I can get hold of my nervous system and stop reacting to life. Instead, I would start to respond to life. And that is peaceful. It feels good. It's easy. It's chill. Somebody else is losing their shiz. You don't have to. Because you're emotionally stable, because you're emotionally free, because you're not thinking those thoughts anymore. You're not like, oh, I made them upset, or they're making me upset. The finger stops pointing around at everybody else. You start just taking ownership and being responsible for your own inner environment and how you feel about that. And it can get good and it cannot be good depending on what you will and won't let in. It's what we're available for. If we're available for more of the drama and the hardships and the suffering and the victimhood, okay. Like, there's nothing wrong with that if you still need it. But if you don't need it anymore, you're like, you know what? I'm ready to grow. I'm ready for maturity. I'm ready for my spirit to take over, because your spirit's that love and light, right? That spirit is the one who is the leader, but we listen. We tend to listen up here instead of listening down here. This one will always take us in the direction that was meant for us. And this one just gets confusing, has doubt. It's trying to manipulate and manage outcomes. And that's too much effort. Like, we're here for the love. We're here for the light, because that is who we are. Anything apart from that is just a lot of work. So, your life can get so much better, so much easier. Family drama goes way down. And then you become this pillar of strength, because you're personally empowered to be emotionally free. And then, like, when you get better, everybody gets better. Because they're like, wait a minute, what's going on? She's different. She's doing something. Her feathers aren't ruffled anymore. She's not frazzled. She's not having a come apart. There's, very few meltdowns these days. Like, what's happening? And then you become a cooperative component, a co-creator with the life that you want. Now, I got to put a little disclaimer in here. The people that are still available for struggle and suffering, they might have to excuse themselves from your life. That is one of the side effects of getting healthy and happy and full of love and light and being more of yourself, is that they will excuse themselves from your life, and you just have this shedding of the outer layer of people that no longer serve you in the capacity of personal growth and expansion. Instead, you just become that personal growth and expansion because it feels so freaking good in your body, in your life, and everything's getting better, and new people will show up. They'll find you. And then you'll have like new friends. And not all family members can handle it, but not all family members are going to be mad about it, because there's some family members that are going to really, really appreciate it, namely your kids, that you become a safe space, an emotionally and spiritually safe place for them to express themselves and to be seen. If you are unable to handle their emotions or see them, even in their disintegrated emotional state, you can do it now. When you grow, they grow. Just watch. You gotta trust me on this. But if there's anything that I can do to help you because you're ready for that kind of experience, you don't have to pick at the scabs. We don't have to get all crazy who did what in your past. You don't have to go to those ugly places. We just have to identify the darkness and alchemize it. Turn it into the gift. Turn it into the light that you are. Get yourself aligned. And then we can identify what you can do. What is within your personal power to become that confident, steadfast, and immovable emotional and spiritual being that makes the contribution you're here to make. Like, we get all doubt out of the way. We take care of all of the emotional neglect that happened in the past. Anything that had to do with avoidant attachment styles or anxious attachment styles, and we identify your truest gifts. And so then it's much easier when you know who you are and the gifts that you carry within you that may not have been watered yet. They may just be little seeds under the ground. We find out what is keeping those seeds under the ground. And then we give them water and light, and they grow and you expand. And those immature parts of you, the unhealthy thoughts, the thoughts that carry fear, that turn into negative emotion, become alchemized into these beautiful gifts that continue to grow and expand, and you are able to make a contribution in the world. It's a pretty magnificent thing. Okay, well, thanks for watching. That was my live. I got to get back to work. I am going to Tally Creative on Monday in Grand Island, Nebraska. I am so excited. They're rebranding me. So who knows what's going to happen, but I'm excited because I just let go. I am not in charge of this process. And I just like their magic, their creativity, their ingenuity, genius minds. Yeah, they're going to take a look at what I do, the way I do it, and just turn darkness into light. They're going to alchemize it for me. So everything that I've done so far to this point has just been homemade. It's literally just, oh, that looks good. Why not? How bad could it be? This time it's going to be very intentional. I'm very excited. Very excited. So stay tuned because I'm going to share what we do at Tally Creative, and they have got me booked like morning to night and all the fun in between, and I'm super excited. I've never been pampered like this before, so this will be really fun. Anyway, I'll share it with you. Stay tuned and let me know what you think about everything that I talked about. If you're like, oh my gosh, that's me. Oh my gosh, I have never heard it explained like that. Oh my gosh, I had an aha moment. Share it. Share it in the comments, because unless we talk about this stuff, it just stays dormant. Nothing changes. And then we just go round and round in our little roundabout, expecting to take a journey in life, and we just keep getting the same things over and over. So hit me up, let me know, DM me, whatever you want to do. I'm so open to discussing this with you. Okay, talk to you later.